yesterday's practice was after a game, so all we did is condition the guys that needed conditioning extra. The other guys had massages and we had film. Today will be short because we play tomorrow, but next, I believe, next 4 Thursdays or 3 Thursdays will be good practices. But again, I don't know, what will unfold between then and there, but yesterday was more of a cerebral.
John, with all the emphasis on toughness, how do you rationalize massages?
It's probably a good point. I can tell you, I don't get a massage.
Cal, when you talk about, like, you want him in better condition, the Nick has played well because he's in good shape. You want EJ to be in better condition. How tough is it to keep that condition and improve the conditioning while the season is going on?
It's different.
Is it a different conditioning than like game conditioning?
If you remember in 2014, normally as practices go on and we start getting into February, March, my practice times go way down. That year, they went up and we were going 3 hours. I very rarely would go 3 hours in my career. We were going 3 hours every chance I could that year because they needed it. So it's all dependent on certain kids. Like yesterday, there were a couple. Emmanuel didn't need any conditioning. He needed to recover. But we got some other guys that still were surrendering at different points in the game. They jog back, they stop playing, they grab their knees. Well, it's an indication of that. It was funny, I was talking to Bam's mom this morning, and a friend of his was there, and he said, Mom and I were going back and forth, and he was in the background. He jumped on the phone. He said, I've heard all the stories, Coach, and one of the things he said is, Bam learned to work. He said he can remember being in the gym at 10 o'clock at night practically throwing up to try to get in better shape. You have to fight. And if you think that's not the reason, it's because, just let me shoot more, play more. Don't say stuff to me. Let me just go out here and do what I do. Where the adage, which athletes would know, most of you here wouldn't, but no pain, no gain. Now, half of you did not respond to that because you're not athletes. No pain, no gain. And so what I'm saying to these guys, hurt yourself. Yesterday's conditioning was funny. They were doing it. When I walked in, some of them would finish and hit the floor. Well, they got to know, I guess I can do this. You're convincing yourself. Normally when a kid wants to stop, especially young kids, they got 40% left in the tank. And by the end of the year, we have to have guys, when they're on that floor, they're playing as superior athletes. I'm not trying to beat anybody down. I don't do that. I don't beat them down in film. We don't have 3-hour film sessions. A film session for us, if it's more than 15 minutes, 20 minutes, that's long. Most of them are less than that. If I want them to watch tape for 2 hours, what would the tape be of? Themselves. They all watch themselves 4 straight hours. They don't have ADHD then. At that point, they can focus on that. But when you're talking I kind of done this long enough where I have an idea. But again, we got great kids that are trying. They're buying in. I mean, they're knowing slowly but surely I'm getting where I need to be. I can feel close. When I hear those things, I'm really, really happy.
John, after Arkansas and Texas Tech, another charged atmosphere probably tomorrow. Is there a wearing effect that you might, try to be alert to, or is it like it's stealing them to handle it?
No, every game is the same for us. I can't make one game bigger than the rest, because if I do that, at some point you're going to start losing games. The whole thing is every game is its own game. Every team we play, one team just went 8 for 72 from the 3 over a period of time. What'd they do against us? Made 9. That's what happens. You can't, every game on the road, we understand what it is. I mean, every game is sold out. Every game is their the biggest game of the year. This is the game. You got to win this to prove yourself. And if you don't win this, you don't. And we know. And then our job is to go in, do what we do, play how we play. You're going to have to play with great energy every night, because if you don't, you get beat. And it doesn't matter who it is. You could be down 9 or 10 if you're not playing. So I don't change, no Newt Rockneys. If I have to do that, it's going to be a shortened season. This has been an empowered team now. This is a player-driven team. They know what's at stake. They know how hard this game is going to be. For us to win a game in that environment on game day where they need it, hard game for us. I understand it. But let's go in and let's see where we are right now.
What makes this team good on the road, whereas some of your other teams, it's taken some time to get to where they handle those environments the way they do?
Well, we played a lot of road games early this year. Oh, we did? So maybe that doesn't matter? The athletes in the room will understand what I'm saying. I mean, the whole thing is how do you prepare your team? And I think, again, you can look at playing on the road and be inspired by it, or you can be overwhelmed by it. You can be excited about playing on the road and have fun with it, or you can be, oh my gosh, we got to go into that environment. And I think a lot of it starts from we as a staff, how we feel about road games. I've said it before, if I don't get thorough, and they know this, if I don't get thoroughly booed when I'm introduced, I am mad. And it gets me close to retirement. If I walk in a building and they don't even know I walked in and there's no booing and they just, yeah, fine, I know it, I'm winding it down.
You said the other night that you need Nick. What does he need to do to stay out of foul trouble?
We're going to talk about some of it today. So if you're their coach, what do you think you're trying to do? So you guys do understand this isn't brain surgery I'm doing here. The other guy, how do I get him out? How do I flop around? How do I tell my guy to flop, flop, flop? How do I get him to do that to draw fouls? What do we post him 12 straight? I mean, we got to be prepared as a staff. We got to talk to him. But it's not just him. Who else got to stay out of foul trouble? Yeah, he can't have dumb fouls. You can't foul 72 feet from the basket. You can't foul. I keep telling these guys, this isn't football. It's not a touchdown. It's 2 points that we'll score in 8 seconds. Calm down, we're fine. But they take it personal and they get embarrassed. I got beaten, I got embarrassed, so I'm going to grab again. You can't be in that mode. You have to learn, okay, I got embarrassed, let me not get embarrassed next time. I'm going to force them a different way. But it's stuff that we got to talk about and address.
Do you feel pretty confident that you're getting through?
He's been good. How many games has he fouled out? One thing I'll tell you, where these kids want to go, the best players up there don't foul out. They understand. Now, I am not fouling out. You got to be alert, and you got to be aware, and you got to be focused.
How good is Wiley?
Really good.
What does he bring to Auburn?
Physical play and being able to score around the basket. He runs and plays hard. Great kid. I had him on the USA team. Love him to death. He's a beautiful person aside from being a heck of a basketball player.
John, you mentioned flopping. That was supposed to be a point of emphasis. Watching you and other coaches, I'm guessing you don't think it has been emphasized as much as it should have. Or is it one of those things that they emphasize it at first, but then as the season goes on?
Well, the whole thing is, my point, if you're going to call it, or let it all go. When your post player gets it, he turns and that guy flops, let it go. If you're going to let a guy come off the screen and throw his head back, let it all go. If you're going to let a guy kick his foot out and fall down, and you don't call, I'm fine. Just don't call any. I really don't care what the rules are. I don't care. Whatever it is, just make it consistent. And you should never say, I didn't make you're a team too, the three of you. You're a team. You saw what he's doing. You do the same. You're a team. It's not one guy. I didn't call it. I was here. Well, why'd you call that one from 30? Well, I'm not in the position. That's my whole thing. I don't care what they do. They're not going to have an effect on the game if there's no effect on the game. If there's an effect on a game, 15 fouls to 1, then you kind of got to say something, I think. Any of you athletes agree with that?
One more
Or
guy.
should you just, I sit there, I'm not an athlete.
Cal, how are they the same? How are they different from the team you saw a few times?
Different players, but they play the same. They play hard. Bruce got them doing what they do. They're tough on baseline out of bounds. They're tough letting you get it in. They're tough on sideline out. They run their little actions into ISOs and, different ways of trying to get easy baskets. And they're good. They're a top 20 team for a reason. And they won their first, 18, 19 games for a reason, because they're good. Thanks.
Practice.